So today we have another episode of Let's Talk Swimming with three very interesting people here. Andy Donaldson, Jay Prashal, and please say your name, I don't know.
Juan.
No, but set aside the whole name. No, the whole name.
The whole name? Juan Yungsung.
Good. Juan.
Could you repeat? Oh, damn.
Juan Yungsung.
Oh, hey, not bad.
No, the thing is, listen, nowadays you need to be very precise and very good at it. That's why I let him say it.
All right.
This guy here, Ocean 7 swimmer. This guy here, Ocean 7 spectator.
Spectator. True. I did a lot of watching. You're right.
I would laugh, but that's a huge injustice. No, that's a huge injustice. Yeah, every part is important as the person in the water.
It's true.
More.
Well, the thing is, it's the galleon's figure, I guess, the person who sticks out, right? Yeah. So, as I said, Ocean 7 swimmer. The man behind the Ocean 7 swims. Better, no? Much better. That's a good one. That's a good one. And
no,
it's fine. It's fine. We are in a crowded place. It's fine. It's hard to go around.
That's why we'll just cut him out.
No. I wouldn't.
I
wouldn't leave it. It's part of the conversation. And you have created Shark Rebellion. And let's go into detail about this project as well.
Yeah, sure.
So I guess I start with these guys because these ones you see on all social media all the time. These two. How they swim in ultra swims and Ocean 7s, and I've been the fastest person in the Cook Street in New Zealand and all these people. So that is not that interesting. Let's hear from him. What does Shark Rebellion do?
So Shark Rebellion is a Swiss sport brand, and we are specializing in producing swimwear, performance swimwear. And the twist is that all of our swimwear are made of plastic from the ocean. So our goal and mission is to depollute the ocean while providing a high-performance swimwear.
Oh, that's very good. So you saved the world, I guess.
Well, that's the ocean at the very least.
Well, the ocean.
That's our mission, our DNA.
So how does it work? How do you have someone who brings it to you to Switzerland, or how does it work?
The whole process is we are partnered with an NGO called Healthy Seas.
Yeah.
And the mission of that NGO is to take the trash out from the ocean. So basically, they will have a fleet of boats and divers, and they will go to designated area that are marked as polluted, and they will take out the trash from this area, clean up this area. The trash will be on the boats, bring it to the recycling facilities, and then from there, the plastic will be recycled and generated into a virgin nylon, from which we can make a fabric.
Yeah.
And from the fabric, we can make basically the swimwear.
The swimwear and streetwear and everything like that.
Swimwear.
Swimwear.
The streetwear is another angle.
Yeah.
Because streetwear is submitted to friction, so it will degrade into microfiber.
Yeah.
And if you put plastic into the streetwear, it will degrade into microfiber of plastic. Okay. So it will add to the problem we're trying to solve. So that's why we don't do streetwear with plastic or even recycled plastic. It's only organic.
No. I mean, listen, it's interesting. Mainly the part. I guess from the technical side, how it's done. We link everything into the homepage or into the video afterwards. How it's done afterwards, or we will do another video where we talk about the whole process in more into that. For me, it was more interesting how to get it out. I mean, there is the guy who does Ocean Clean, and then there is all sorts of projects. And so I also know the Plastic Bank people. They also have their own model. I mean, look it up, it's very interesting. And so here we try to recycle it, do something else with it. That's cool. But what is your stuff? Who is the person behind it?
So
you swim too, right?
So I used to be a swimmer when I was a kid, and I kind of went to the classical path of a career. So I went to the engineering path, IT engineering. So I was an IT engineer in the private bank in Switzerland for
banking.
8 years. Banking, exactly.
Banking.
Yeah. It's like we have a common common
Common
point.
ground. Yep.
So, and during my corporate life, my escape was actually swimming. So
Yeah.
I would swim almost every day at lunch break during the year, and for the summer, I would go scuba diving. So I was very passionate about scuba diving, passionate about the ocean, and it's actually during my certification of rescue diver. So I was doing the exam to be a rescue diver. And during the last exercise of the exam in open water, me and my buddy that I was trying to pull from the water were covered by plastic brought by current. So that was really a touching moment for me. It's like I was very bitter, to be honest, because the ocean, the environment in which we evolve is so beautiful. I really love it. And suddenly I was in front of the fact that the ocean is really polluted. I was aware that there was pollution in the ocean, but that was the first time I was like in it. And I thought to myself, I cannot keep taking from the ocean. Like I enjoy a lot of the ocean without trying to preserve it. So that's how I got into the mindset. I want to do something for preserving the ocean. I did not think to do swimwear at the first. I thought I would do an NGO.
Yeah.
But there are already so many NGOs that exist, as you mentioned.
True.
So my thought was I would rather support this NGO with something that can generate finance on the long term. So I thought, okay, I should do something that maybe I can sell and then can bring finance. And from there, I took the path of studying the problem of plastic in the ocean. And once you do some research about plastic in the ocean, you find some results about the Great Pacific Garbage Patch.
Yeah.
This gigantic island of plastic, just a few trillion of pieces of plastic, 3 times the size of France, 2 times the size of Texas. It's gigantic. Yeah. Imagine like the whole area full of plastic.
Oh, jeez.
And half of this island is actually made of fishing nets like this.
Yeah.
And I was surprised that half of this island is made of this kind of plastic, because I would think of plastic bags or things like this. But the reason why there are so much fishing nets is because it's a very, very resilient plastic. It lasts 600 years in the ocean. So basically it's eternal once it's thrown in the ocean. And the reason why it lasts so long is because it uses a very high performance plastic called the polyamide 6. And actually polyamide 6 is what we use for technical racing swimming suits. And that is where I had the haha moment. I say, hey,
connect the dots.
Exactly, I connected the dots, but by seeing that this is very bad for the environment, but it's also very performance. Maybe we can use it to make performance swimsuits. So from there, I say, okay, let's do it. I was inspired actually by other brands that did it for ski.
Yeah,
there's a very popular brand here that we use in our mountain in Switzerland. Picture they make ski and snowboard jackets with recycled trash.
Yeah.
So I say, I'm sure we can do the same for swimming suits.
See,
and that's how Shackleton was born, basically.
That's an amazing story. Listen, guys. It's not like they're up and coming. I mean, everyone knows of Speedo, everyone knows of Tier, everyone knows of Arena, but Shark Rebellion, one to watch. They all try it a bit. Some need to do it differently because they're big corporations. But here we have someone who tries it differently. And, the funny part is, I'm Swiss, he is Swiss, so it's in Switzerland, That's the other thing.
It is a Swiss brand.
Yeah, it is a Swiss brand.
Olympic capital.
Not only, the Arlingi was the first mover to do something in the ocean. Now we are coming.
Yeah. We are the next.
We don't have oceans, but we have beautiful lakes.
Oh, the lakes.
How do you find it? So these two guys come from very far away. I mean, you went down and up, and you're not that far away.
More than one way.
Yeah, exactly. Geographically and life.
So a bit more about the background. I already touched it. I mean, one thing as a swimmer, I love is someone who achieves something in the swimming space and gives something back. And when I started my own journey, I didn't know that the swimming space is that big. I mean, I knew pool swimming and I didn't know anything else about it. But as I started with my social media, and that is the good thing about social media, it connects you with other people and it gets you further because people introduce you to other people, and that's the good thing about it. And I think that is the power of social media in general, YouTube and so. Yes, there is also a commercial side to it, and that's also interesting, and that should be because you work for it and you do all these content and all that side. But it connects you with people like these. Where do we start? So with JJ, because that is actually a face you never really see.
Probably for good reason.
No, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that. So I wouldn't say that.
Saying the opposite. See, you heard it.
So before I go into Andy, so Jay, talk about yourself. I mean, you have a story. I couldn't pinpoint you, but yours sound very similar to mine actually.
Oh, well, look, we've all got a story. That's the interesting thing, right? I mean, look, I'm a little bit. Thank you very much. I can talk to the mic. We've all got a story. Look, I was a competitive swimmer when I was a child. I, was a pool swimmer and got to kind of a national level, but never really.
Aussie, huh?
Yeah. Oh, sorry, Australian. If you, Australian.
Not some country, Australia.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say I'm just as European as everybody else here. My father's Austrian, my mother's Dutch. I happen to be born in Australia. So anyway, there's no kangaroos in Austria, by the way.
Yeah. No, true. But just for the people listening and for the Swiss people listening, or for the people to clarify, we talk about the Australian national team. That is a whole different world. It's not like it is a national sport. So just talk. So it doesn't need to downplay it. It was a quite great level.
Yeah, look, and I had fun, and probably like a lot of people, I didn't, I guess, achieve my goals. So I stepped away from swimming for quite a long time. Concentrated on my career, which a lot of people tend to do, and got to a stage in life where, look, people started to pass away, family members and so forth, and I found myself asking some questions about what I want to do in life. And I consequently got back into swimming as kind of a result. I mean, there's a lot more of a story there, but I won't go into that. But got back into swimming, really enjoyed it, made me really find my feet again, and gave me some structure and discipline, and which I think is really important in everybody's life. We find ourselves getting distracted quite easily, so it was nice to have that structure and discipline and get back into a routine again and get my life back effectively. And started to get back into swimming, master swimming at this stage. So people a little bit older, masters clubs in Australia are fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm nearly 50 now, but this was when I was probably mid-30s. So maybe your age, or a little bit younger, Marcus. And just enjoyed it. And then I had an experience through a work colleague where we wanted to raise some money for cancer. He was going through some stuff with himself and with his family, and we decided to do a team swim for the Rottnest Channel swim.
Yeah.
So that was kind of my introduction into open water swimming. I mean, I'd swum in the ocean. I mean, swimming is a cultural thing in Australia. We swim in the pool, we swim in the beach. It's a way of life. You get taught swimming at school, but I had never competed in the open water. So for me, that was a new experience, and I learned very quickly that I can't sprint in the open water, not for very long, because I get 400 meters out and then I die and everybody goes flying past. So I had to learn some new skills and techniques and different ways of tackling the problem. So I found it quite exciting, and one thing led to another, and got more involved in open water swimming and started to win some races and have some fun. And I enjoyed it, loved it, just a different aspect. And as part of that, I had a challenge to do the Rottnest Channel swim as a solo participant this time. And it was kind of around the time where I met this gentleman here on my left, Andy, and he encouraged me to join a more competitive swimming club, because unfortunately the Masters clubs, it's more around fitness, fun and friendship. So it's not about training. It's not about going full on like we used to when we were younger. And so I joined the club that Andy is with in Australia, the Perth, now is it Perth City? City of Perth Swim Club, which consequently was one of the clubs that I trained at as a child. So I've come full circle again.
No, you closed the circle. That's cool.
So I've closed the circle. So I'm now training the majority of my time at this club with a lot of youngsters, and there's a few oldies like me, but not too many. I still keep in touch with my Masters team. But this is where the story of the Ocean 7 kind of comes together. And over a cup of coffee one day, Andy says, "Oh, I've got an idea. I've got a challenge. If you got 5 minutes to listen." And so he briefed me on his idea, and I was intrigued. I went, "Wow, this is quite interesting. I'm interested to hear more." And Andy, in typical fashion, and probably in finance fashion, he's a details kind of guy. He goes, "Hey, but I've got more. I've got a detailed plan."
So the master plan.
Yeah.
Bing! In my email comes this 14, 15-page document, detailed document about the Ocean 7 with all the details, all the records, all the distances, the locations, the costs, everything. And when I read this and what the aim was, boy, I was impressed. We're just we're in the public space, if you didn't know, so we're just waiting for people to go past and have a bit of fun.
Come and join us.
Come and have a sit. We'll find out about your life too. So in came this really detailed document, and I was blown away.
Yeah.
I went, wow, this is not Australian term here. This is not a half-assed attempt.
Yeah.
This is someone who's
really
actually
something.
thought about this.
Yeah.
And I thought, wow, I've got to find a way to be involved. This is something that, knowing Andy, I knew this was going to be something very special. And I believed in his ability. That was without question. But seeing all the detail there, I thought this is going to be something very, very special and a once in a lifetime opportunity. And I'm fortunate enough to be in a position where I could, spend the time and travel with him and be a part of that journey. So,
Be an important part of that journey.
oh, thank you.
Yeah.
So off we went around the world and had a fantastic time in doing amazing things, and for a good cause as well. We both have a an interest and a passion and a deep connected a part of mental health.
Yeah.
It's something that every one of us will experience at some part of our life.
Yeah.
So for me, that was also very important to get that message across and I guess help people along the way. And as I said, I'm a little bit older, so my journey now is about serving others and giving back to the community and trying to support some of the younger people coming through. So it was just a synergy of two people coming together and off we went.
Amazing.
So,
Amazing.
yeah.
And then you met this guy here. So this that guy there. Just so quickly. Thank you very much. That is actually in line. So now we know Jay. Listen, gives him support because he supports others. So
Well, and look, and importantly for me, a lot of it, all of it, is about the mind.
Yeah.
Right. We can't have a healthy body if we don't have a healthy mind. So, as I said, my aim now is to give back to others as well. But a lot of it is to help people lead a healthy life, mentally healthy life, and to provide perspective.
True. I mean, why are we all doing this? I mean, I do swimming because of mental health issues as well. I mean, I have ADHD, and that is the reason why I got into swimming in the first place. And now actually I get faced with it on another level. And on the one hand, throughout my career, ADHD helped me to conquer all these troubles, all these problems I had in the world. It helped me to go through all this and made me to a better, unlock a superpower.
Yep.
And swimming was a great part to actually get that. So I fully understand.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess when you talk about mental health, I guess you have also something to say in that perspective. Now, do a nice move over to Mr. World Record holder. I never had it on.
Three-time world
record. Oh, I'm so sorry. A 3-time world record holder, Andy Donaldson. As much as you think that he's from Australia, he's actually not. And you are, you're not.
Is,
I mean,
we've claimed him.
You will hear when he starts talking where he's from, or maybe you guess. That's the second guess in the comments. Where is Andy from originally?
Have a guess.
Have a guess.
We might need subtitles along here, Marcus.
You can't understand the Irish at all, can you?
So I guess hand over the mic to Andy and to his 15 pages long pitch to Jay.
Yeah, well, look, I don't think you undertake a challenge like the Ocean 7 It doesn't happen overnight. It's there was a big journey to get there, and it's just been really interesting to hear everyone share their backgrounds with the sport and why we swim. I don't think anyone got into the sport originally to go and conquer channel swims or to make the Olympic team and race for their country. They get in because they find joy in the water, and they find a place to help with their physical well-being and their mental well-being and community through swimming. And I can very much relate to you guys with your backgrounds in the sport. I started out swimming in Scotland. It wasn't ocean swimming. It was you were considered a bit mad if you swam in the sea there, but I was a pool swimmer, and I got in because my older sister and cousin were in the sport, and over time I developed a lot of friendships. I really enjoyed coming down to the pool. Swimming's a sport that teaches you so many things, the discipline and training and structure, how to set goals, how to deal with failure, how to handle pressure, all these amazing things. And, it's been such a big part of my life. And the older I got, the more competitive I was. And I did start to turn my attention to things like the Olympics and racing for Great Britain. And it's interesting, when that happened, I think I started to less enjoy the sport, and it became very results driven. And we had talks just before this started recording about aspirations, and I put a lot of pressure on myself with those results, and ultimately fell short of them. I didn't go to the Olympics, I didn't go to the Commonwealth Games, I didn't race for Great Britain. And even though I was training hard, perhaps in my opinion just as hard or harder than the guys that were going to these things, I found that really hard. And ultimately I moved away from the sport without realizing my potential and fulfilling my dreams. And life goes on; those get swept under the rug, and it can be quite a hard transition to make. You take out all the structure from the sport that it brings, and you're left with this void. And kind of similarly to you guys, I found myself going into the corporate world and into finance. And I'm an accountant. I'm a chartered accountant, so I threw myself into my work. Worked long hours. I'd come home from a long day at the office, and I'd pick a book up on tax and read that for 3 hours and study every night. And
That sounds like fun.
oh yeah, obviously it was to the accountants out there, I think you can relate. But that was life for a long time, and I felt like that's what is expected of you in society, that you go and you work and you get a job and save up money, you buy a house, you have a family, all these things that are expected. And it was fine for a while, but I knew deep down it wasn't really me. It wasn't what I wanted to be doing. And I think over time it doesn't happen overnight, but you start to realize it's not sustainable. And kind of similarly to Jay, I had life events that kind of made me sit up and take stock. I lost some friends to suicide. I had issues at work where which really made me question my character and the person I was becoming. Split up with a partner. I needed to really reevaluate whether this was the path for me and who I wanted to be as a person. And again, without going into too much detail, ultimately that process brought me back to the water, and back to swimming and into the sport. And having had mental struggles through that journey, swimming was really the remedy for me, and in a way, an incredible tool to manage my mental well-being. And so I found myself back in the water, really just loving everything that it brought, and made me realize just how much I needed it in my life. And the more I got into it, this was during COVID, so the more I was doing, the fitter and faster I was getting. I was encouraged by a friend to revisit some of those old goals of mine. Just perhaps repurpose them from the pool and try do something in open water. And where I lived at the time in Western Australia, we have an incredible open water swimming circuit and series and great events like the Rottnest Channel Swim. That's a 20-kilometre swim out there in Perth, Western Australia. And that was my target. I targeted getting into the shape of my life and really giving that a go. And this was 2021. With 10 months of training, I managed to get myself into shape where I won that race. I managed to beat guys who were on the Australian Dolphins team racing at World Championships in open water. Beat them quite significantly. I think it was by about 6 or 7 minutes, which is a long time in a 20k race. And it made me realise, like, maybe I have more to give in this sport. And through that process, I was raising money for a mental health charity. So, I figured maybe there was an opportunity to continue doing these kind of swims and to combine purpose with sport, use it as a vehicle to support issues close to my heart and maybe share positive messages around the sport of swimming, what it can bring, and that it's never too late to pursue your dreams.
So then the Ocean 7 was born, I guess.
And then the Ocean 7 was born.
Yeah, listen. It sounds very. As I said, for me was the start of it. I mean, mental health. It's funny enough that you say this. I mean, it's funny. Funny enough, you two have more the mental health aspect, and you have more the environmental aspect. But it all goes back to society in the end. I think it
all goes back to a purpose.
To purpose in the end. Yeah, it goes to purpose.
It's all the health of something. It's health, our health, ocean health. Ocean health is linked.
I mean, to strong arm the whole the group here. Unfortunately, and we will do another time as well. Unfortunately, another person which I think does a lot in that space as well, or awareness, is Noam. He's now in Greece and doing his preparation for his swim 180k from Calvi to Monaco. I want to just put that in here as well, or link it into this video as well. As it's very important as well, and he also goes into the direction of the saving the ocean, or
which is incredible that people are starting to use sport as that vehicle
to advocate for important causes. Like I was saying, the health of our oceans is critical for human health. Without the blue, there's no green. Without oceans and healthy waterways, we eat what's in the ocean and lakes. We eat the fish. It's important. Our bodies are, what is it, like 70, probably more, 90% water. There's a huge interrelationship between the both. So,
well, the fascinating part about it is, I think, is also swimming is a bit different to running or anything else, because swimming you need to, if you want to be good at it, especially in the ocean or in the open water, if you want to be good at it and if you want to get around, you need to get some sort of, funny enough, become one with it. So you need to adapt to that situation. So it's not only good to be a good swimmer. No, you also need to adapt to the situation. So you need to become one of the nature, one of these. This is the fascinating part about it.
I completely agree, and I think there's so many parallels between that. We talk about ocean sustainability. We talk about mental well-being. We need to be able to adapt to the challenges that arise and look to the long term, what's sustainable over the long term. In marathon swimming, it's a marathon. Challenges will come our way. The weather might change. We might encounter waves and currents that are out of our control. How do we adapt to those challenges as they arise and have performance that's sustained over that long period of time?
And this is where the mental aspect comes into it, right? So this is where I start to get quite passionate. This is where you need to start raising your awareness. Yeah. You need to start feeling the ocean, feeling the water. I think everybody here would probably agree that, I guess, to learn swimming, you need to think with your head to start with to learn the techniques. Yeah. Once you get to a certain stage where your technique's actually quite good enough, I know for me personally, I stop thinking about swimming and I start to feel more. Yeah. I feel where the water is. I feel what's going on with the water. And as you said, Marcus, like when you need to adapt in the water, you have to feel what's going on. Yeah. Because you can't necessarily see, you can't hear, all you've got really is your other senses. So maybe your eyes and your skin, or your senses of feel. So this is where the parallel of life comes in, where swimming for me is very much about meditation. I mean, when you think about meditation in itself, a lot of that is the breathing techniques. And what do we do in the ocean or in water? We breathe.
Controlled breathing.
Breathing. So it's a form of relaxation. I certainly feel a lot better when I've had a swim. You know, I might have had a tough day at work or whatever, or something's going on in the outside world. And the only place I want to be is in the water, because I can turn my phone off or put it away. I switch that off.
Time alone with your own thoughts.
Yep, I don't use any music or anything like that. I like to listen to the water going past my ears. Yeah. I like to be alone with my thoughts. It gives me an opportunity to think about things. But I also like to disengage from my thoughts as well, and focus on my technique, on feeling. So it comes back to this meditative experience, and that's for me an awesome way to keep healthy physically, but also mentally. So I'm working on my mental fitness while I'm swimming. And the other thing too is with the longer distance swims as well, you're in your head for hours and hours at a time.
I can imagine.
So you're going to have all these negative thoughts. You're going to have positive thoughts. So there's so many learning opportunities and growth experiences from doing these. And we were at an event over the weekend where it was a multi-day event with multiple distances, but you know, we were working up to work swimming 33 kilometers over the weekend. There was a range of people there. There were people that had, you know, been national swimmers or ex-national swimmers, people with open water experience, but you know, conversely, there were also people there who had never swum in the ocean before, never swum more than 500 meters in the open water, and here they are doing 33 kilometers over a weekend. And to watch the transformation of these people and watch them face their fears, and some people had some real struggles. You know, as ambassadors of that event, myself and Andy would, you know, have conversations with these people and talk to them about their fears and help them work through them. And we had some great results. There were some people there who got back in the water the next day and did another 5 or 7 or 10 kilometer swim where, like I said, they've never swum 500 meters before. So it's a really awesome event. And even at the end of it, just the community. So that's another aspect of swimming, and specifically open water swimming, is the community. And, you know, look, we talk about mental health. You look at what's happened over the last few years with things like COVID, and people were segregated from one another, and that created so many problems. So I think people realise that, and that open water culture has just grown and grown and grown since that time because they were disconnected. We'd never had an event like that before. So consequently, people realise the importance of connecting with other people. And we now have an awesome open water culture and open water community, and that's another aspect of this mental health and mental fitness.
Yeah, that I agree. That I agree. Listen. I mean, we see it also in all sorts of things. We see it in triathlon. We see with the Ironman space, where you have a lot of people going into also for their reasons, and we see it in marathon running, where you also see people going into the marathon running space, and you know, London Marathon had never so many people apply for a spot, so you had that. What I think is just remarkable. I mean, that was very narrowed for me. The window, or the vision was narrowed. Is that I never thought that swimming would have that power as well, and that is growing, and that is crazy. But the funny thing is, swimming is also one of the most fascinating sports about it. Not a lot of people can do it. A lot of people want to do it, and it's life saving. So it's also that aspect. And so from that point of view, yeah. And I do think the caveat of having, when you swim in the ocean or in the water, that you become one with it. You also start the rhythm. You take over that rhythm. It sounds very cheesy, but you just take over that rhythm of that whole thing, and then once you can embrace it because you're really in it. You're not just using it when you're in Switzerland. You go and hike in the mountains and whatsoever. That's nice and see the view, but there you're in it, and you have a whole area where we don't know what's going on. So I think, and one funny enough is when I started to say that I want to do the Ocean 7 or the open water swims. First, I will do Tobago Trinidad. That's we have that. Yes. So we need to complete that first. Then I'll go after the records of Andy. No, that's another story. No. I'm not gonna. I just want to complete it mainly. That is for me. But the Tobago Trinidad swim is one thing. But one thing which they said to me is, because I came as this, former pro swimmer, our national team and all that, and I came into a group of people which had a birthday, and they were all in London, and they were all from the Thames club, River Thames club, and I know a serpentine. They usually swim in the Serpentine area, so that club, and there were a lot of people who did the English Channel crossing, and one girl was the record holder on the free time swing in the English Channel, and other people in there who did it double, and they did it a couple of times. The one who was the most experienced and who also is in the I forgot his name. I will need to put him also into the description of the video. One of the people that said, Marcus, first you need to learn to be humble. You need to be very humble when it comes to open water space. So you look at myself, and now I realize why he meant it, and I get more the gist of it. But at that moment, you were like, "Why I swim better than you." But actually, it's not about that. You can be the best swimmer, and you won't make it.
Yes,
you can be the best swimmer. And you will never be. You don't need to be on the level national team or whatsoever to be in the open water. Just learn how to swim.
I think that's one of the beautiful things about these types of swims, the channel swims, your marathon swims. There's so many things out with your control that you can't focus on times or speed or results. It's the journey. It's what takes you to get there. And then when you're in the water, you do the best with whatever you're given. I've done channel swims. I did a swim in Hawaii, the Molokai Channel Swim, and I'd come off this run of amazing results. British record in the English Channel, British record in the North Channel, world record in New Zealand, and I had high expectations. And we got our asses kicked out there. It took us so long, and a time that was far slower than what I had anticipated. But that became the most valuable experience of my life. Far more valuable than any of the other swims. I learned just how resilient us as a team that we could be to handle those challenges that we faced. We never gave up, and we found ways to keep pushing through when everything was telling us to stop. And, it's a really magical thing. And I think it's a great analogy for life again. Everyone goes through and carves their own path and has struggles at different points in life. We're all just doing the best that we can. And coming back to that humbling aspect, a friend of mine who's in her 50s, she did it a couple of weeks later and went faster by about 4 hours. So it's a very humbling sport, but it makes you. What is success? Success is how you conduct yourself in those moments. It's not about times. It's not about results or records. They're nice things to have, but the real valuable thing is the process.
The process, yes. Sorry, I don't want to interrupt you in that one. I had my realization, or my revelation was when I crossed the finish line of Hamburg last year. So, many of you have said it many times. So my goal was always, when I started my journey, was to qualify for Kona, go to the World Championship, and then beat the record on the swim leg and have that for myself to go. And Corona helped me too, and I'm very honest with everyone. Corona helped me that, because at the time when Corona hit, I would have done my first Ironman, and I was nowhere near to be ready. Swimming, we don't talk about swimming. Swimming, I was always ready. That is not the problem. The issue was the cycling and the running. I was nowhere ready. I would have told you that I was ready, but I wasn't, and I realized that. And then a year later, there was this Ironman Klagenfurt, and then I did that too, and I was good. First out of water of the age group, picked up some pros on the way in. Obviously, how expected it had to be like this, and on the bike ride, I was going not as the envisioned 4.5 hours. I was more on the 5 hours track, which is still good for someone who is not a pro or whatever. So I was gunning for the 5 hours. And I need to say to you now again, as being honest, I was lucky that I fell.
Yeah, wow.
Because I was nowhere near to be ready to run a marathon afterwards. That fast as I wanted to be to qualify. And this is very honest. I have never said that I shared it to my closest people. I've never shared it really to everyone. And this is the one humbling moment as well. So they had these humble moments. And then came Hamburg a year later. That was last year. And I trained even more and more thoroughly. I trained much harder than I could. And I was ready. I was really ready also for the run. I was ready for everything. But then I beat myself. And again, I beat myself. I did a month before the Ironman in Hamburg. I ran a marathon because I thought, I'm ready. I need to do something. And 2 weeks before, I said, I just need to see how my form is. Everything I slowed down. I slowed down in cycling for tapering a month before. I slowed down for swimming a month before. Like, you need to do it. For when you have a long streak of training, you need to have a longer resting or the tapering phase. And no, the running I needed to know because that was the most unknown. And the runs were good. I mean, it was a 3 hour and 10 or 15 or something like that on the marathon. And on the half marathon, it was a 1.5 hour run, which was a good time. So I knew, I'm ready. I'm going to Hamburg, coming first out of water on the bike. Due to the accident, the 4:30 mark wasn't as possible because I needed to stop. We needed to walk because there was the accident. Rest in peace. So put that aside. So I had a 5 hour 12 bike ride, which was still with a break, with walking in the meantime, like on two occasions of this bike ride. And then I came to the run, and that was it. I beat myself. My ligaments were inflated, like they couldn't they couldn't do it anymore. And then there was a mental game, and then the mental game started, and then the humbling process started. And out of aimed for 3.5 hours, 3:45 hours after that, which was a very solid and not optimistic, but a very solid, very realistic time, it became 6 hours, a bit more than 6 hours. And I came in with 12 hours on my first Ironman. The time was shit. Sorry for my abilities. That was bad, and nothing against it. But it humbled myself that I crossed that finish line, and I did it.
Yeah,
I just did it. It didn't matter how long it took. It didn't matter. I pulled through. I pushed through. I pulled through. I did it. And I guess that is the funny part about it.
That's it. Yeah.
I don't know. I guess
what you learn about yourself.
Yeah,
when things don't go to plan.
And even if and funny enough, I mean, you didn't said that much, but this guy is also doing triathlons, right? Or
Mostly swimming.
Mostly swimming, but you also want to go and do triathlons at some point, right?
Yeah, for sure.
for sure. I mean, you see, he is the technician in that whole thing. He thinks about saving the world and very humble in itself. So, yeah, we are more voice, we are on Instagram, we talk all the shit, we know how to talk out of the game.
Yeah, that's it.
I think the experience is there. Sometimes also pro swimmers should, what I think, and that was my problem back in the days, pro swimmers should also think about, look, it's not all about the medals and whatsoever. You take all my following and whatever is out there away from me, I would still go and swim.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
You take all the records away.
Well, it's why you do it.
It's why we do it. Why we do it. You either role model, but you do it for yourself. And everyone who will challenge me, funny enough, there's also people who challenge me on social media every now and then when I put out the sprint time, which they think no one can do, but trust me, we've done it. It's always there. But the thing is, then I say to them, listen, see it as ambition to beat me, be better, be the person. But in the end, you do it for yourself. Mm-hmm. No one of these people have a world record, did it for someone else. They did it for themselves. And this is the main part about it. And the ocean, you know why you're going to be 15 hours in the water. You do it for yourself.
That's it.
So that was a different Let's Talk Swimming session, a cool one. We are in Lake Geneva.
This one?
Yes, that's what I want to say. I want to jump in here.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
It's a beautiful scenery. So thank you, Andy. Thank you, Jay. Thank you, Juan.
Thank you, Marcus,
for everything. It was good to talk to you guys.
Awesome to meet you in person. Finally,
thanks.
Awesome.
Thanks. Yeah. And stay tuned for another episode.
Let's go swim.
Cheers.
Cool stuff. Right, I hope that recorded.